Hi DC, how you doing, mate? Let's get into the first video.
Finally, Klaus Schwab gets it.
What we have seen in the elections, in the United States, in the Brexit vote, this anger of people against globalization and against the elites. If you look what's happening in the United States, particularly, you have this anti-system movement. What we are seeing is a revolution against the system.
What we are staring at right now is the slow motion blueprint of what amounts to an American coup or an American color revolution. And it's carried out, Alex, not with rifles and troops and tanks, but with regulations and encrypted chats. And it sounds rather sci-fi and innocuous, but this is exactly what's being done. It's quiet, it's polite, it's office casual, kind of a dressed down Friday version of this. And the kind that walks in, you know, with a badge and calls itself public service. The script is not secret. It's not coded. It's written in English for anyone who has the courage to pay attention and to read it. When federal workers take federal salaries that we pay them to abide, and they move official communications onto private encrypted apps, you know, before the president even takes office. What do you call that?
You call it a coup, and you call it a violation of a whole bunch of Open Records Act laws, serious felonies.
You can call it activism if you want. You can call it resistance if that makes you feel noble. But history calls it something else: mutiny. Mutiny through Wi-Fi, through channels. This is a digital barricade that's erected itself inside the very government the voters just reshaped. And this was not oversight. This was pre-organization. They do this in plain sight. They want you to know the symbology, the semiotics. They don't hide anything. But people are so shocked because, after all, Alex, we don't want to get conspiratorial. Oh, no way.
In Brussels, Belgium, thousands of farmers from across the EU, including Belgium, France, Italy, Spain, Germany, drove around 1,000 tractors into the city center. They blocked major roads around the EU institutions, threw potatoes and eggs at police, lit fires, burned tires, and set off fireworks. Police responded with tear gas and water cannons. The farmers were protesting the proposed EU-Mercosur free trade deal with South American countries including Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay, and Paraguay. The deal will flood Europe with cheaper imports produced under lower standards, devastating local farms and generational livelihoods. Broader EU agricultural policies, high costs, regulations, and subsidy issues have also plagued UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer's race toward a dictatorship.
This government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament.
Labour are delaying more elections. Nearly 10 million people won't have the right to vote until 2027. I'm sorry, but are we being run by Kim Jong-un?
Madam President, this time both the right and left wing of the European Parliament want you dismissed. Your term is a symbol of arrogance, chaos, and decisions made behind closed doors over the heads of citizens in the name of your dictatorial ambitions.
In the shadowed corridors of global power, where the elites plot their insidious agenda, the walls have finally begun to close in. John Bound reporting for Infowars.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now, a couple of years ago, maybe 3, I was the only person on the internet actually telling everybody that WhatsApp was not private, that even though they were claiming that messages were encrypted, that they were WhatsApp and the company Meta was able to view the messages. That we know that as a fact now. At the time, people said that was not possible and Manny was wrong, but I have since been proven right, as we now see, especially in the UK, that even DMs and WhatsApp are monitored. I have something else that I want to share with you guys. I can't prove all of it, but I am pretty sure, and normally when I do make announcements like this, it's usually proven a few weeks or months later. So I am aware that there's software built in the iOS systems, aka your iPhones. Now, when you're asleep, when certain investigative companies have monitored iPhones when people are sleeping, they have noticed there is a lot of uploading from the device, not by the owner, the device itself. This particular investigation believes that any photographs you have taken, any messages you have sent, and so on and so forth, on screen grabs you had saved, are being uploaded onto the cloud, onto the system. For what and where we can only speculate, but I can tell you that companies like Amazon and Apple do provide server space to the likes of federal and government agencies such as the CIA and various other cities. Not just them two, even Microsoft, Azure, they do it as well. Now, I can't prove this. So I was speaking to somebody that works for the UK government yesterday, and he said that he was under the impression that the app Telegram was encrypted and nobody could read your messages. From my conversations to some of the world's leading developers, it is my theory that there is a layer of coding, a layer of software in iPhones and Androids that, like they do on Windows computers and internet devices, they actually record the letters, what you are typing in, and therefore there is a transcript, a record, I should say, of what you type. That's may not have, or it may have, I don't know, nothing to do with the Telegram app itself. It's something that could well be, and I'm speculating here, I don't know for sure, that sits on mobile phones such as iPhone. I want to share that with you. I don't have the solid concrete evidence as I did when I exposed WhatsApp, when they were claiming that everything was encrypted and private, and now we know I was right and it isn't private. They do keep a record. They've always had to. There's always been backdoors built in all these computer systems. Whether it's a smartphone, whether it's your Windows PC, whatever, there are backdoors built in. They have to. They are almost legally obliged to do so. And as we've seen with Apple recently, you could upload and save your photographs, and they were private. So also Apple claimed. The UK government pressurized Apple, and now they're not encrypted, right? That's what happens all the time. It happens with Microsoft as well. Nothing is private. Now you're going to claim, some of you, I've got nothing to lose, I've got nothing to hide. Yeah, none of us have. However, when you are monitored 24/7, you're also not a free person. You are just a slave. The only problem is you're just too dumb to realize it. Right. That is my introduction done, and we are now going to look at Islam and Christmas.
Oh, cute. Right here. Okay. MashaAllah. Adorable.
Assalamu alaikum, guys.
Walaikum assalam.
Are you guys celebrating Christmas?
Sure are.
Beautiful lights, Christmas vibes. It's the best. You do know by celebrating Christmas, you're agreeing that Allah has a son, right? Dad? Is that true?
No, baby, that's not our intentions. So it's okay to celebrate it. Don't listen to her. She's being extreme.
Actually, by participating in this holiday, you're accepting that Allah was born today. But Dad, that's totally haram.
Christmas is fast approaching, and that means we're going to be seeing Muslims taking part, putting up Christmas trees, exchanging gifts, putting up decorations. And before any Muslim comes to me in the comments and tells me it's part of British culture that it's okay, please go and do your research. Honestly, if the reverts can do it, and some of them don't even take part in exchanging gifts, they don't put up any decorations, they don't do anything. And imagine how challenging it must be for some of them. So if they can do it, honestly, you have no excuses.
New York City, is this what you voted for? Because in London, a woman was literally told to leave the street just for walking her dog because someone said it was offensive to nearby Muslims. And this all started because in Islam, dog saliva is considered to be ritually impure. It's a religious cleanliness rule, but somehow that private belief turned into a public demand.
Every day I have hundreds of clips I can't even get to. I've got clips in Texas, clips in England, clips in Australia of Muslims running TV ads on national TV saying, do not go to a Christmas party, do not give gifts, do not light Christmas lights. They're going to steal our kids and turn them into Christians and all the rest of this. And that's just the mild stuff. Then I've got them passing laws in Australia and the UK and Canada when the Muslims attack, taking our free speech away. So again, it is a sickening alliance going on. And it is a major threat. Oh, the Muslims kill a bunch of people, so now the last of your guns are taken. And they won't ever say what the problem is. And so they're not here to assimilate, they're here to conquer us. It's a political, religious movement. And so that's where I stand on this. I mean, here's just some of these clips. Here's a Islamic ad running in Australia featuring Orthodox Muslim girl calling out Muslim man for not being halal. Here it is.
Oh my God, you look so cute. Right here. Okay. MashaAllah, adorable.
Assalamu alaikum, guys.
Walaikum assalam.
Are you guys celebrating Christmas?
Sure are.
Beautiful lights, Christmas vibes, it's the best. You do know by celebrating Christmas, you're agreeing that Allah has a son, right, Dad? Is that true?
No, baby, that's not our intentions. So it's okay to celebrate it. Don't listen to her. She's being extreme.
Actually, by participating in this holiday, you're accepting that Allah was born today. But Dad, that's totally haram.
Unbelievable. Why you gotta make Islam so difficult, huh? It's like everything is haram with you guys. Can't I just have a day where I take my kid out, we celebrate by opening some gifts? I mean, what's the harm in that?
I'm glad you asked.
Baby, help me with the Eid decorations.
Yeah, right. I'm done with this.
Oh no, she takes us a jib off.
At this point, celebrating these holidays isn't even about, is it haram? It's about putting your Islamic identity in danger. Dad, Allah's blessed us with Islam. And honestly, that's all we need.
You got that.
At this point, I just want to say there's three groups of people that don't like Christmas. That is Muslims, communists, and Satanists. I'm not saying these are just one group, but there's enough evidence to make a semi-factual statement that they seem to have formed a strong alliance in the West.
Right.
Now you get it. Dad, let's get out of here.
Good idea.
May Allah bless you. Bye.
Let's get out of this evil Christmas tree. And that's what the good Muslims, they know what to do with the Christmas tree and the people out there eating cookies and eggnog. Truck time.
But the other thing is, the Christmas tree is a pagan symbol, right? There's nothing in the Bible that states that you should have a Christmas tree and give presents. And well, I suppose with the presents, you could say at the birth of Jesus Christ, the kings came and gave presents. So you're copying that ritual. But the whole tree thing is a very modern kind of 1800s royal family thing. I've been led to believe. So even Christmas is not really about buying and spending money that you don't want to spend and that type of thing. You know, it's to celebrate. It's to celebrate the birth of God, the greatest being that ever lived, that lived the perfect life. You know, you would have thought that Muslims would be running to worship the event, since, you know, they are aware that he, or should be aware that he was the ultimate person.
Of course, under the real Quran, those two little 9-year-old girls are his wives. Here's a Muslim woman in the UK calls for the people to not celebrate Christmas. She's talking to Muslims here. Here it is.
It's that time of the year where Christmas is fast approaching, and that means we're going to be seeing Muslims taking part, putting up Christmas trees, exchanging gifts, putting up decorations. And before any Muslim comes to me in the comments and tells me it's part of British culture that it's okay, please go and do your research. Honestly, if the reverts can do it, and some of them don't even take part in exchanging gifts, they don't put up any decorations, they don't do anything. And imagine how challenging it must be for some of them. So if they can do it, honestly, you have no excuses. And if you're that Muslim that was going to put up a tree this year, please take this as your sign. Or if you know someone who's going to take part, show them this video, let them take it as a sign. You do not have to exchange gifts. You don't have to put up a Christmas tree. You don't have to put up any decorations. You don't have to do any of it. Honestly, take it as a day off. You've got a day off of work, and just go about your day like it's normal.
Now, this is the friendly little Muslim, don't celebrate Christmas. But I can show you 100 videos in just the last month of them attacking Christmas displays in the U.S., in Europe, in Australia, and then all the other shooting attacks and all the rest of it. Those are the Orthodox Muslims going out and doing that because that is verboten. And them surrounding churches after the Sydney attack, 10,000 plus Muslim men chanting at the church because they all see it as a giant affront. Now, this is in French, but here is a Muslim, speaks French, shows up at a McDonald's in France demanding they get rid of the bacon they serve and go halal. And he's screaming and yelling and shoving people and getting aggressive and giving them Islamic Sharia law notices. Here it is.
J'ai fini dans tous les médias. L'équipe, j'ai un contrat avec moi pour négocier ce fameux Big Mac Halal. Les frères, quand je dis quelque chose, je parle pas pour rien. Donc l'équipe, venez avec moi, on va y aller ensemble. L'équipe, venez avec moi, on va y aller ensemble. Bonsoir. La dernière fois, vous êtes foutu de ma gueule. Vous êtes foutu de ma gueule, vous avez eu de la publicité grâce à moi. Je veux parler avec le manager.
Pas d'Arab, je sais très bien.
Non, mais qu'est-ce que vous faites, monsieur? Je filme pour ma défense. Je filme pour ma défense. Je filme pour ma défense. Eh, vous savez pas qui vous en prenez. Vous savez pas vous à qui vous en prenez. Eh, vous savez pas qui vous en prenez. Eh, vous voulez me taper. Vous voulez me taper. Il y a le quoi? Ah, tu veux me taper ou pas? T'es sûr que tu veux me taper? Quoi? Vas-y. Quoi, vas-y? Moi, je suis qui, moi? Je suis qui, moi? Je suis qui, moi? T'en fous, toi? Bref, je reste ici à quoi? 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 Tu crois que je suis un mec d'ici, moi? Laisse-moi aussi, laisse-moi aussi. Laisse-moi aussi, frérot. Regarde, t'as juste un Big Mac halal. Juste un Big Mac halal. Mais est-ce que je crois, frérot, tu veux. C'est toi qui travailles ici? Oui, je travaille ici. Genre, je travaille ici? Oui. Ah ben, moi, je veux parler avec le manager. Je veux parler avec le manager. Vas-y, elle est où ta carte de travail?
C'est chiant, tu fais ça toutes les semaines, c'est chiant.
Eh, moi, vas-y, frérot. Je vais vous dire. Vous êtes foutus de ma gueule. Vous êtes foutus de ma gueule. Regarde, regardez, il y a un contrat. Je vais vous le laisser. Regardez. Regarde, je vous laisse le contrat. Regardez, je vous laisse le contrat. Maintenant, je filme pour ma sécurité.
All right, I'm going to spare from the rest of this. It goes on and on. I have hundreds of these a day. I mean, it's just because they're making their move. This is the jihad time. This is the intifada. Now, this is a famous clip. There's new ones I have today. British woman arrested for quietly praying on the street. We have people being arrested for walking their dogs. And we have Muslims saying, I will kill your dog. Your dog is an evil demon. And it is an insult to Islam. All dogs out of the UK.
Just imagine that you think you are praying or you are worshipping the Almighty Creator, which the Muslims think they do. Just imagine you are worshipping the Almighty Creator, or so you think, who has created everything, including dogs and pigs. And then, in the utmost respect to that same Creator, you disregard his very creation. I mean, how does that even make sense? I mean, how much lacking of creative thought do you need to be? I mean, is there some kind of test that you have to pass on a regular basis to make sure that you're not progressing too much? I don't understand that. Surely somebody somewhere should be able to think like that. I don't. If anybody can explain it in the comments, I'll read it out.
And my question is, Tucker, you love your dogs. Will you, in the name of unity, give your dogs up? I'm serious. I love Tucker. Again, he's like, doesn't want to have Israel use Islam as a wedge. I get that. But it's a real threat, though, separate from what Israel's trying to do. Can't be this black and white, one-dimensional thing. So here's a British woman arrested for praying.
London, a woman was literally...
You're engaging in prayer, which is the offence.
It's silent prayer.
No, but you are still engaging in prayer. It is an offence.
It is an offense. They arrested her. She spent a long time in prison. Yeah, let's roll the footage. This is just the latest of, you're about to walk your dog in the park. The Muslims are there. You're trying to affront them with your Labrador. She's like, I live here. That's my dog. Well, you better watch it. Iran to crack down on dog walkers. That's right. They still hide them there. But the point is, this is what they want to do. Oh, your Christmas tree. Oh, your dog. Oh, your wife. My wife a month ago goes out at 9:30 to go to the grocery store. Has a guy literally in a nightgown screaming at her and saying, you are a woman. You should not be out at night. You need to be accompanied by a man. You could get hurt. Because under his religion, in an Islamic country, he'd rape her. Because she's in trouble. It's her fault. She says he was excited sexually because she's good looking. And she's a woman with blonde hair and yoga outfit and everything. And he's just like, oh, what the hell? This is fair game. You get in your car. You not be here. You not safe. So I'm already getting Dirk and Muhammad Jihad right here in Austin. They're making their move. Dirk. So here's the evil dog.
New York City, is this what you voted for? Because in London, a woman was literally told to leave the street just for walking her dog because someone said it was offensive to nearby Muslims. And this all started because in Islam, dog saliva is considered to be ritually impure. It's a religious cleanliness rule. But somehow that private belief turned into a public demand. All it took was one complaint, one moment of I'm offended, and suddenly a normal woman just walking her dog is treated like she's the problem. So how did the UK get there? This is what happens when a society bends the knee to every single demand instead of standing firm on its Christian roots. This isn't about demonizing people, but it's about calling out a system that keeps punishing the innocent to protect feelings. One person's belief should never become a muzzle on someone else's freedom. If a dog on a leash can get you kicked out of a public street, then what's next? What other freedoms are going to be erased because someone might be offended? America, you better pay attention. New York, what happened to you will never forget. These moments are warnings, and if America doesn't stand up, the whole country will fall. We were built on Christianity, not anything else. So New York, I'm going to ask again, is this what you voted for?
It's all about pissing on you. It's all about dominating you. That's why the left's allied with it. They want to bully white people, Christians, conservatives into submission because we're being conquered. Now, here's a couple clips, one out of Europe and one out of Dearborn, Michigan, of the call to prayers that blasts out at 5 a.m. up until midnight. Here's an example in Europe and in Michigan.
We're in Dearborn. This is the call of prayer that goes off 5 times a day here in the United States. Would you like to hear this blasting through your neighborhood? They don't have a choice of whether they hear this or not.
That's just like a rooster crowing. And I have dozens of new videos here of Muslims preaching at the park saying, and if we see a dog, we will kill it. It is unclean. And I tell you, officers, you will be destroyed if you allow dogs in this park. This park is now halal. This park is now Sharia. Meanwhile, oh, you're privately praying? Jail. Germany, oh, you called the chancellor incompetent? 3 years in jail. But it's not just for Islam. Here's one. Police arrest a man for calling someone a Muppet. They go, sir, you called someone a Muppet. He was hurt. His feelings were hurt. You're going to jail. Meanwhile, they let Muslims in Germany, in France, in the UK, do marches with machetes as a show of their power. Run around with big, huge eyes. Like, oh, that's liberal. Oh, liberal. Yeah, not a threat. Here's the Muppet clip.
So I've been sat around there all this time, yet you decide to come and talk to me when I'm leaving.
Okay. Well, if you're going back to me, you're under arrest for Section 4A public order offence.
Just give us your camera.
We'll explain a second.
Listen, all I'm going to say is, do you guys really want to do this?
Yes, we do.
Right, you're arresting me for what offence?
Section 4A public order.
Public order for what? Second pictures?
Hang on
a minute. Are you body cam one? Are you recording? Can you identify yourself, please? All of you.
PC 692. PC 1823. 870.
Sergeant.
1823.
1823.
Yeah. Put your hands to your back then.
Is this really necessary?
At the minute, we don't know if you're carrying anything that might harm us. We don't know anything about you.
Oh, that's a fair.
Can't see your face, so just out of precaution.
All right, let me just let me just speak. That's a fair comment. I'll let you have that.
All right, yeah.
But I don't have anything. What's going to harm you?
Everybody says that to us, don't they, mate?
And I'm actually just going to go in lobby because it's a beautiful lobby.
Yeah.
I'm going to get some because I ain't got any stills.
My colleague's going to tell you the circumstances for why you've been arrested.
Am I being arrested or being detained?
Arrested, I just said the caution.
Arrested?
Yeah.
Well, what have I done wrong?
Are you with the caution? Public order. Do you know the caution again, or are you?
Well, what have I done? Tell me what I've done.
There's been a member of the public who you've apparently been shouting at and calling him a Muppet.
Right, a Muppet, yeah, and?
You caused him alarm and distress. She's very upset.
Right, well, I'm gonna be straight with you guys now.
Don't forget you're under caution.
I can feel you shaking. I can feel you shaking. Calm down. Calm down. You are shaking.
Right, you've got your rights.
I'm going to tell you now.
Should we go into the office?
Calling somebody a Muppet.
Before you go in, mate, I'm just going to turn your camera off.
Calling somebody a Muppet.
So, globally, it's the same think tanks, the same NGOs that are getting governments to pass these laws. And now, in response to the Islamic attack 8-9 days ago in Sydney, they're banning whatever guns are left and saying we're passing laws against right-wing extremism, banning criticism of Islam. And I have the police chiefs and the regional chiefs and the governors all on tape saying, you don't criticize Islam. Your criticism is why they came and killed you. That's blaming the victims. And then I have the Prime Minister showing up at an event at Bondi Beach and being massively booed, and then people that simply point them and say, you're a scum, we don't like you, they get tackled, taken to jail. And other videos around the country of peaceful demonstrations with a placard saying Islam is terrorism, jail. 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 Yeah, let's hear some of the booing. Here it is, of the Prime Minister of Australia. this next hour. It's like 4 minutes long of this. Then he gets up on the stage, he goes out over national TV, the whole crowd boos. And they're tackling and arresting people that just yell at him. It's insane 4 minutes. I mean, it is wild. I didn't plug last hour.
All right, so that's that video. Plenty more video, plenty more information to come. But let's just have a quick chat. Actually, just bear with me just 1 second. Okay, so first thing we need to remember is atheism and communism is actually pretty much two sides of the same coin. They're both detrimental to a free society in the sense that just like atheists try to shut down Christian free speech, communism does the same, because communism wants to be the leading voice, just like atheism, and we've seen that in Speaker's Corner. Now, I know that is a couple of very large blanket statements, but I'm happy to debate anybody in regards to that. Secondly, like I said previously, Satanism, Islam, and communism hates God and hates Christianity and hates the culture that's been created and built on Christian values, and our corrupt leaders are facilitating this. Because if you think about it, if you are a corrupt regime trying to take over a country, you would want to take away the culture, which has history. You would take away their religion, especially if that religion is based on God, and you would want to install an ideology and get people to fight each other and that type of thing. What better way to do that than introduce things like transgenderism, atheism, Islam, and any other foreign religion and thought process and ideology? Because it's the West that's really created modern society. You don't see as people from the West going over to live in the countries in Central Africa, do we? I mean, we might go to South America or Central America or something along those lines, or parts of Asia such as Thailand, but definitely not the Islamic communities, definitely not the African communities. Maybe South Africa, a few rich people end up going to South Africa. However, our corrupt politicians are bringing over the worst of the worst individuals from various countries and putting them not just in our communities, but making sure that there is conflict. Now, if you were to help a drug dealer intentionally or unintentionally sell his produce, then you would be in trouble. As a minimum, you would be taken in and made an example of, and questioned. However, our governments and those funding them are facilitating not just foreign criminals coming into the country, but facilitating the rape and torture of children and women in this country. They're facilitating a ideological religious takeover and a targeted destruction of society. Right, number one. And number two, we know that the British politicians, if we use Britain, we know that our politicians are corrupt and do not represent us. But the British people continue to pay their taxes and continue to vote and regard the current democratic system as being some kind of way of restoring peace and justice and prosperity. Now, the definition of stupidity is to keep doing the one thing and not getting any results. So continuing down this path and either voting for any of the main political parties and expecting a different decision is as stupid as you can get. And if you think you're going to be voting for the cult of Ben Habib or the cult of Nigel Farage, then you're also in that same camp as the other idiots, because every so often we are shown a new potential hero to come along that, like the others, doesn't give us any guarantees, but says, well, you think they say all the right things. People vote for them, and if they do get in, a lot of them don't. If they do get in, they just go off and do whatever they want anyway. So, in terms of anti-money laundering and terrorism offences and funding terrorism, we already know the likes of the HSBC, Britain's leading bank, has been caught multiple times of money laundering. Multiple time money laundering. We're not just talking about involved in narcotics and transfers of funds for weapons and that type of thing. We're talking some extreme cases. Now, they did get fined, but they probably made a lot more money than they did. But my point is, if you are caught directly or indirectly funding terrorism or anything like that, then that is a severe criminal offence. Yet our tax money is continuously being used either against us or in situations where life is lost in wars and what have you, but nobody really seems to be active in doing anything about it. Even these so-called newcomers in politics, have you noticed how many of them come along and come and say, I'm going to stop all wars? How many come along and say, well, do you know that all the large amounts of North Sea oil that's worth trillions upon trillions, well, I'm gonna take it back off British Petroleum and we're going to nationalise it, and that's enough money over the next 50 years to pay off every single mortgage in the UK. I'm not saying that it is exactly, but I'm just saying that, these are state assets. These are the assets of the country, and the country is made up of its people. So why are we, the people who are born in this country, not benefiting or profiting from our own assets? If you find a gold bar in your back garden, or if you found something precious in your back garden, that's yours. That's your property, right? So why have we been programmed to such a level that we human beings don't even ask why the profits of our own assets are being given into private hands? Imagine how long they've been programming society for society to actually forget that food is actually free. It grows naturally. All you have to do is throw it in the ground, give it a bit of water and a bit of soil, and it grows. But we've been programmed to such a level that we are willing to pay money for something that God gave us free. They now create rules and laws saying that we can't catch fish to eat, or now they're saying if you want to have chickens in your garden, you've got to have a license. That is putting a cost and restriction on what God gave for free. So that in its extension makes the government satanic, because it is satanic, means against God, against good. That's why Satanists used the symbol of God as we know it, which is a Christian cross. They don't use the Islamic moon and star. They don't use the Sikh kanda. They don't use any other religion's sign. And invert that, even the Satanists in foreign countries, including Asia, use the same symbol. It's either 90% of the time the inverted cross or the Star of David inverted. All right. So, what would be a good way of resolving these type of issues? Well, the US Immigration and Custom Enforcement have come up with this plan. You tell me, would this work if we did this in the UK? Introducing the US government Santa Claus. So, before I replay that, it says US Immigration Customs Enforcement avoid ICE and Santa's naughty list. Self-deport today with CBP Home app. Earn $3,000 and spend Christmas at home with loved ones. Holiday incentive is valid through the end of 2025. Right, now you have the context. Let's watch that again. Okay, next video.
To immigrate to a Muslim country, take advantage of the benefits of that country. Could you imagine having the audacity to immigrate to a Muslim country, take advantage of the benefits of that country, raise a family in that country?
Whoa,
and then have
I've
the
got stop.
to make videos.
Stop. We have the legendary, somebody that I haven't heard from a long time, Sophia Films. Hello, good Merry Christmas, brother. I hope you're well. It's been a while. Now let me give you everybody some lovely background information about Sophia Films. As you can see, he has a wonderful saint warrior image on his icon, and he certainly does represent that. He's an old school Muslim, and he used to teach a lot of jihadis a few lessons. So welcome back, brother. It's been a while. And he's saying, hello, notice how Muslim manifest when Christmas rolls around. Yes, I'm afraid they do. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Videos where you talk about, I don't know, like how Ramadan is devil worship or something. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Here's a Muslim guy who's living in the United States, raising his family in the United States. And here's his Christmas video message.
Ready. Merry Christmas! You've been celebrating this holiday for years, yet Jesus nor his disciples ever did. So where does this tradition come from? Saturnalia, a Roman Greek festival where gifts would be exchanged to celebrate the pagan god Saturn. The evergreen tree, worshipped for immortality and eternal life.
I've been speaking all that time and you guys couldn't hear me. But anyway, the reason why I stopped this here, the gentleman was speaking about Saturnalia, the pagan ritual, and that's what Christmas has become. He's somewhat correct. I believe the word Santa is representative of the planet Saturn, and that part of it is very, very paganistic. Though I am no specialist on the subject, I would need to get my friend Miss Piggy to come on to explain that. She knows a little bit more about it than I. But we also need to remember that Saint Nicholas, a Christian saint, is also apparently involved in that. So they're two conflicting stories. However, we also need to remember, if we are going to call one religion's paganistic attributes, we also need to do it to others. So the fact that Muslims walk around the black box, which is Mecca, did you know that is a pagan system, a pagan symbol? Did you know that the paganistic symbol for the planet Saturn is a black box? And the reason why pagans and Satanists believe that Muslims walk around the black box is to represent the belt of Saturn. But of course, this chap is going to conveniently forget all that, and we know that Christmas has been taken over. Christmas or Christmas is all about God being born and living the most perfect life and then taking our sins. That's what Christmas is all about. And yes, Satanists and paganists have tried to take it over and have brought various things and made it very commercial. And I was listening to a podcast the other day, and people were saying, this was on Dave Smith's, and they were saying, oh, it's very depressing, Christmas doesn't feel like Christmas anymore, and this and the other. And I was thinking to myself, well, Christmas has been so commercialized that people think it only feels like Christmas if every single shop and TV advert and so on and so forth is about Christmas and showing Santa Claus, and that we shouldn't think like that. We should use the day to actually think and remember how lucky we are that we know God, that we have not been fooled and duped into thinking that we are following any dark energy which allows crimes against children, crimes against women, starting wars, pretending to make you think that you're some kind of warrior taking over a country, and there's some kind of alliance and allegiance with you and the global elite. That is dark and that is demonic, right? So those of us that have a relationship with God, just be thankful, and just remember tomorrow is his birthday, and just connect with that. And that, if you can spend more time than that and energy, then brilliant, but that should be your minimum. Right, let's get back to this video.
But you know it as the Christmas tree. This is devil worship disguised as religion. So protect your family and don't get caught lacking.
Wow. Or how about immigrating to a Muslim majority country and then setting up a religious stall and, I don't know, giving out Bibles or blasting Christian music while they are having their Eid celebration right nearby? Do you think that's appropriate? Here's a video of Muslims who've immigrated to Denmark, and they are blasting Islamic music and giving out Qurans right beside a Christmas tree and a menorah. You know what's interesting about this video? So the Muslims set up like a Muslim booth or whatever, and they're blasting Islamic music on purpose right beside a Christmas tree and a menorah, which is incredibly inappropriate. First of all, like totally inappropriate. The people in Copenhagen respond by putting up that sign. You can read it for yourself. And this video is going viral amongst all the radical jihadi Muslims, and they're complaining about Islamophobia. Really? Aside from the fact that it is utterly ridiculous that these people are complaining about Islamophobia, I mean, what did you think would happen when you're disrespecting the traditions and religion of the country that you're immigrating to, first of all? People have every right to respond. And of course, they're going to be upset. They're going to be angry. You're disrespecting their religion. You're disrespecting Christmas. You're disrespecting Hanukkah. But this is where the gaslighting comes in.
Okay, so I'm going to stop that video before I share the next one. First of all, Christianity is not a religion. It is a relationship with the Almighty. Let me repeat that. Christianity is not a religion. It is a relationship with an Almighty. Now, if you have never connected with the Almighty, you're not going to understand that. I can tell you that before my connection, I didn't understand that. It's only when that connection was made that all connections then was understood, or certainly a million more. So Christianity, I repeat, is not a religion. It's not a book. It's not a list of rules. It's not telling you how to exist. You're supposed to already know that. It is a connection so powerful, so divine, so epic, so wonderful, that you lose yourself in it to the extent your fear goes, your clarity comes, your motivation reaches whole new levels, goals appear, your objectives change, your life becomes a position and a mold of what everything that you always wanted it to be. That's what it is. So I don't really appreciate people calling something so magnificent as a religion. Religion is what Catholicism created, and Church of England, when they were forcing people to go to the church, or religions like Buddhism, that you wear an outfit, shave your head. These are practices, these are rituals. Not once did Jesus Christ say anything about being religious. In fact, he critiqued religious people, and he said something along the lines of that you will not reach the kingdom of God, nor will you let anybody else. Right. Next video, our sister Hatun is on the card. So let's go over to her and see what she has to say.
Ali Dawa is dangerous. What you are about to hear is a testimony of a Muslim woman on TikTok. According to her, after being publicly targeted,
hi Jordan, welcome mate,
and morally condemned online, she faced harassments, rape threats, doxing, and even break in her home. She also says that scale of harassment and targeting was so huge that made her homeless. Yeah, people break into her house, unable to live safely in her own space.
Wallahi, Ali Dawa is 100% responsible for my home being broken into. And this is what you guys don't see. These are the real life consequences. There are real life consequences when this man thinks he has the authority to be policing women online, when he thinks he has the authority to be singling out women, calling out women in such an aggressive way, telling people, like manipulating our real narratives into his own, telling people that we're causing corruption to the ummah, we're calling to evil, swearing by Allah that I would destroy all of their homes, I would destroy all their marriages. What he does is put a target on our backs. That's what he's doing. He put a target on my back. By telling people that I'm this, I'm that, I'm going to destroy all of your marriages, he then made his millions of listeners feel justified in then harassing me and attacking me and threatening me and doxing me and breaking into my fucking home. He did that. He put the target on my back.
Welcome to Islam, love.
And then what happened when I came out and said that I've been getting these endless threats of being raped and unalived by men? What did Ali Dawah do? He said, your threats aren't real. I'm the one that gets real threats. Instead of telling his followers, leave this fucking woman alone, what did he do? He enabled it. He enabled the threats. He enabled the abuse against me. He said that these are not real threats. These are not serious. I'm the one that gets the real threats. He enabled the fucking threats. Forget enabled, he fucking started it. And then instead of calling these men out to tell them to fucking leave me alone, he downplayed it all. They're not real, they're not serious, it's fine. When men were talking on his live about graping me for the greater good, he completely ignored it, brushing past those comments.
What? Well, I try to say that as if I'm surprised. We've seen, how many times have we seen this, that the Muslim community use rape as not just, well, they use it as a weapon. They use it as a type of profiteering weapon, a weapon against women. It's a type of war, or as Tommy Robinson has labelled it, it's a rape jihad. And look at this. I mean, you kind of feel, well, of course you feel sorry for her, but you kind of don't feel sorry for her. Like, what took you so long to get to this point? Because you don't seem ignorant. You don't, you seem switched on. So what's been the delay of your IQ rising up? I don't understand.
They don't fucking care. They're fucking dangerous.
Oh, really? You should try becoming a Sikh girl, a Hindu girl, or a white girl, or a Christian girl. You want to know what dangerous? At least you've got a wrap around your head. You've got some level of security. You imagine being a westernized, British-born, non-Muslim girl. You'll soon know what dangerous is, love, living in a place like Birmingham.
This man is fucking dangerous.
Now let's be clear about something. A Muslim woman who is on social media, who wears like very huge amount of makeup, having very big lips, having big eyelashes, or even disagreeing with someone else online doesn't make her fair game. It doesn't justify threats. It doesn't justify rape comments. It doesn't justify driving someone from their own home. She claims Ali Dawah is the one who is responsible for this harassment and for her to become homeless. Yes, Ali Dawah, the man who is on YouTube with over 1 million subscribers. He is the one who went after a Muslim woman on TikTok, caused her to be homeless, and made her target by other Muslims. That's what she claims. It seems Ali Dawah is very busy framing women as corruption, evil, or even destroyer of the ummah, and then refused to shut down the violent and sexual threats from his own followers is the reason for this woman to fear her life. This is dangerous, right? I'm sure you all picked up. This is dangerous. And this is Islam. This is what Islam offers. This is what Dawah gangs offers to the world. Very, very basic principle, okay? Like, you don't even need to be Einstein for that. If you have a platform And men are openly talking about raping your Muslim sister. Doesn't matter you disagree with her or not. Men are openly talking about raping Muslim women for a greater good, and you brush past it, downplay it, and deny it is serious? I am forced to ask, is this what Islam calls you to? Is this the justice, the mercy, the protection that Islam offers? Seems to me that's the case. Therefore, I have to say, everyone, if you are breathing out and in, stay away from Islam. Stay away from Islam. Islam puts the life of Muslim woman in danger. Followers of Islam put the life of Muslim woman in danger. Individuals who are on social media, especially Muslim men who are doing dawah, puts the life of Muslim woman in danger. And it's always the woman who have to pay the price. But let me remind you something. Let me remind you something that you never forget, okay?
You gotta love Hatun's accent.
Lord Jesus Christ doesn't just forgive the guilt. He defends the weak. He sees the woman crushed by fear, by threats, by injustice. Then he calls them his own. In him, you are, as a woman, never target, but you are treasured. Ali Dawah.
Okay, right. Before we move on to the next video, yeah, I think that's a fair comment there, Jordan. If anybody knows the dangers of Islam, it's the lioness Hatun. Yes, indeed, the bravest woman ever. Yes, I didn't understand her bravery initially. I thought she was a bit OTT, and I said that in the past. But it's only when I was saved that I was able to understand like this level of bravery. It doesn't, it comes from a place like beyond, comprehension. It's only when you feel that source of bravery, shall we say, that you understand where she's coming from. Okay, next video.
When Muslims go and conquer the adjacent country, what do? We kill them all? No. The Prophet says, the first thing you do is call them to Islam. If they refuse, then tell them Allah obliged upon you to pay taxation. In return, when enemy comes and attack your country, you don't fight. We Muslims protect you.
Verse number 29. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders the Muslims to kill the Christians, Jews, and if they do not surrender, then they have to pay jizya. Jizya is basically protection money.
And remember, Al Gore said, we need our own Arab Spring here. When Obama's CIA overthrew our allies that were more moderate, like Egypt and others, and put them in charge, but they got overthrown. That's what Obama wants. And remember, he got caught sending $50 million at least of taxpayer money and stuff to Kenya to try to have it overthrown by its neighbor, Somalia, and then Sudan. And the emails came out with Obama trying to overthrow Kenya. It is the Democrats that are allied with all of this. I wanted to dedicate time to the Islamic offensive that you're seeing, because that's what it is. And Americans and Europeans are so brainwashed to be politically correct that we won't even listen to what the opposition groups in the Middle East are saying about the Muslim Brotherhood. And again, who was Obama allied with? Who's Keir Starmer allied with? Who helped launch the Arab Spring with the CIA? Obama. Who raped Laura Logan, the 60 Minutes reporter in Cairo? Hundreds of men grabbing her, dozens raping her. They said, well, she's a good-looking woman out without a man at night. We're raping her. Just like my wife in the parking lot. And he's like, lady, you're not supposed to be out here. You know what I can do under, you better get your ass inside.
Okay, so I have shared that video before. I'm not going to play it again. It was just the intro. We're going to move on. I'm kind of sick and tired of talking about this subject. We've got a lot of other things to go through. So just to quickly show you this, a Iraqi alien convicted of raping a 100-year-old woman, but will not be deported. Shakir Mahmoud Shakir. Not sure why his first name and last name is the same, but I don't want to know. A 38-year-old Iraqi home care worker has been sentenced to 4 years in prison for the rape of a 100-year-old woman in Stockholm, while the Swedish court delivered a guilty verdict for the assault committed during his service. Shakir was acquitted of a separate rape charge involving a 94-year-old woman and avoided deportation. There will likely be an appeal, says prosecutor Lynn Nabag, regarding the outcome. The incident occurred in October when a 100-year-old victim was suffering from chest pain. Instead of receiving an ambulance, she was visited by Shakir, who was employed in the home service sector. According to the woman's interrogation testimony, Shakir told her, "They have said that you should be anointed." He proceeded to use an anointment and an untold object to assault her, despite her yelling at him to stop. He continued the abuse for approximately 10 minutes without responding to her. "Then I was ready to cry, and I thought, you work here and then you do this to people against women," the 100-year-old woman recounted in her statement. Following the emergence of suspicion, Shakir took sick leave and was subsequently dismissed by the city of Stockholm. Another fine example of Islam. Next article. Let me get rid of the previous tabs. Teenage Islamist stabber girl is so dangerous that Germany is building a high security container to house her. It gets worse. A 14-year-old extremist Muslim girl is considered so dangerous that the German government is building its own high security container to house her. Currently, she resides in the city of Paderborn, which will be transferred to the new site in the coming months. The secure site will be fenced in, monitored by cameras, and strictly controlled. In August, the 14-year-old girl, then 13, stabbed a caregiver in the back inside a psychiatric hospital in Paderborn. No facility in Germany wants her due to her threat level. Okay, so I don't think that's a good title for this. So it's saying the teenage Islamist stabber, fine, she's a Muslim girl and she's dangerous. But then further down, it states here that she's in a psychiatric hospital, or implies. So I don't know if that is the best way to lead the article. If she is mentally disturbed or demonically possessed, or maybe the saying is it's a demonically spiritual possession due to a religion. I don't know. I don't really care. But I'm going to move on to the next thing. That's enough of Islam and their community. Let's move on to something else. So this article, this video is from. Where's it from? What part of America is this? So this is a American city, and this is a mayor of that city. And guess what? The mayor of Lawrence, MA, Michigan, I think that is. So there's a city called Lawrence, and they have a mayor, a Lord Mayor, if you like, and he doesn't speak English. Check it out.
So I'm advised by counsel for the respondent that they indeed encourage this and substitution and have no objection and waive any objection they would have to the your services as a translator here. The division has a concern and has raised an objection based on the fact that counsel, much like me, in my capacity as a hearing officer, don't speak Spanish. And therefore, we're unable to decide independently whether questions are being translated both directions from the attorney and from the witness accurately. So I appreciate.
So yes, imagine that. I remember some Sikh chap in the last general elections in the UK. He was sworn in, and in the ceremony he didn't have to speak English, and he did it in Punjabi. I think that is ridiculous. I think that is bananas, because if he was from some culture and country that was on the same level or even superior, then we all would be saying, okay, well, at least we're getting some level of that knowledge into our country, into our system. But that's not the case, is it? So why are we watering down our culture, our laws, our system in order to facilitate a lesser one? Is that a valid question? I think that's a valid question, right? Okay, I've had enough of that stuff. I'm going to go on to Epstein now. We're going to change the tone. Infowars article: Epstein negotiated contract with CIA to move immigrants. Clandestine airline used in Iran-Contra scandal to Ohio, according to new files. So Epstein ran a secret global CIA Air Force, new documents prove, as Alex Jones broke over a decade ago in this real reason for the system. Former US Department of State official Mike Benz has been digging through the recently released Epstein files, finding some interesting documents connecting the infamous paedophile to the CIA and its notorious Iran-Contra weapons and drug smuggling scandal. You see, when I say publicly that I believe the globalists control Islam and Islam is actually a very convenient puppet on a string, can you see the information that in my head when I say this? So that's all I'm going to... I'm going to leave that. I'm not going to go on to that. Okay, let's watch this video.
Jeffrey Epstein negotiated the fucking contract to move the CIA's proprietary airliner, Southern Air Transport, which was busted running drugs and guns during Iran-Contra. He personally was the authorized signatory on the deal with Southern Air Transport to move it to a military base in Columbus, Ohio to service the limited. Hey, any of you guys got any bright ideas about how you would go about in 1994 convincing the Central Intelligence Agency to move its proprietary CIA airline used for covert operations, based in Miami, to fucking up and move its entire operation to fucking Columbus, Ohio, just to service your personal company instead of the CIA? What do you think, he cold called the CIA? You think he just schmoozed the CIA? Or is it because he was handling out on Khashoggi's money during Iran-Contra that purchased the guns that Southern Air Transport a decade earlier was moving?
Yeah. All right, let's watch this. No, let's not actually. Okay, you get the idea. He worked with the CIA, essentially. If you didn't already know that, you're an idiot. But if you had a good idea or you knew that, well done. So, Alex Jones exposed the secret intel agency pedo plane since the start of the Epstein saga. and that was in October 9th, 2016. So when we have the jellyfish say, "Oh, Alex Jones doesn't get anything right," trust me, he gets a lot of things right. I wouldn't be wasting my time with him if he didn't. But let's watch this.
The murders in Mena, Arkansas, the rape of all these women, the Lolita Express, and the connections to pedophilia, and how these international spy rings have been compromising people, and Epstein, who is an informant to Mueller and works with Mueller.
And that in many cases, the children were never seen to have left. They were either being smuggled out on aircraft from that island to areas of Europe and the Middle East, where we know Epstein and Clinton would fly on the Lolita Express. We know other aircraft that Epstein had were also signed on with DynCorp that's been caught in congressional reports being involved in all of this. Again, they're telling women, hey, you want to learn how to be a pilot? Come to us, so they can then process them through, see if they meet whatever the requirements are. I mean, these are people that worked for someone that was doing this on these aircraft. When you've got the same FBI a couple years ago with Jeffrey Epstein, who had the Lolita Express, with Bill Clinton on at least 16 round-trip flights to the pedophile island he got convicted of running. And then you've got Clinton flying out to hang out with sultans that have admitted harems of little boys and little girls. This is mainstream news. Well, the FBI, quote, gave them all immunity. Magic wand, you're above the law. But they know Trump is holding this back. I've known this has been a Trump October surprise for 6 months. And so what happens? They hit Trump with it. We know about the Lolita Express and Epstein and Bill Clinton and these Islamic sheiks and people that are known pedophiles that they were traveling with. And, of course, Mr. Epstein was convicted of that. And we have Boys Town, and we have the pedophile networks in Europe that have come out, and in the UK, and we have Penn State, and we have the Catholic Church, and all these cover-ups, and CNN is out running around saying there's nothing to the Podesta emails. It's insane. There's no such thing as organized child trafficking, basically, even though they know full well that's not the case.
You know, I've tried to quantify in the last 3-4 months exactly what we've covered with the Podesta emails, and Wiener, even the New York Times admitting is about to be indicted for child pornography, and Jerry Epstein and the Lolita Express with the children being flown out for sex slavery, Bill Clinton being on board. That's been in CNN, Associated Press, you name it. And we covered all that as it unfolded. We've all seen the big pedophile networks in Europe and the pedophile networks in the UK. This really is the rulers of the world, these vampires. And so it was almost like a Christmas story here, but 3 ghosts came in the Christmas story, and it was fiction.
So you get the idea. Okay? You get the idea.
And we're also going to show this years ago.
Breaking news this hour, officials say multimillionaire Jeffrey Epstein has taken his own life.
Jeffrey Epstein is dead after being found unresponsive at a New York City jail Saturday morning.
After apparently taking his own life.
Officials say that his death was an apparent suicide.
Surveillance video recorded inside the Metropolitan Correctional Center is missing.
A camera situated just outside of Epstein's jail cell is unusable.
Footage from at least one camera in the hallway may be too damaged or unusable for investigators.
An FBI crime lab is examining 2 prison cameras that malfunctioned.
Surveillance video from outside his jail cell, it's gone missing.
Now, this will, of course, raise even more questions about whether the surveillance cameras were purposely tampered with and if Epstein's death was more than just suicide by hanging, as it was ruled in an autopsy.
In what may become one of the biggest child molesting cases ever on record.
Alex Jones called this years ago. Years ago, he was saying that they take a lot of famous people to this island and they have all these young girls that this guy hooks them up with. He was talking about this years ago. Now it is mainstream news.
Doctor who witnessed Epstein autopsy, death more consistent with homicidal strangulation than suicide. Isn't that amazing?
For some odd reason, people that have information on the Clintons end up dead.
and they usually die from suicide.
The President of the United States is pushing a dangerous and completely unfounded murder conspiracy theory about his predecessor.
He is spreading a conspiracy theory.
Untrustworthy and ridiculous
conspiracy theories tying the death of pedophile Jeffrey Epstein in prison to the president's former political rivals, the Clintons.
Christmas ornaments, drywall, and Jerry Epstein. Name 3 things that don't hang themselves.
Major twist tonight in the story involving that leaked video of ABC News anchor Amy Robach talking about the network she works for killing the Jeffrey Epstein story.
It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything. There will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. I had it all 3 years ago.
ABC's lead investigative journalist, Amy Robach, is right. Jeffrey Epstein is the biggest pedophile America and the world has ever known. But he himself is just a front man for a larger network that is still ongoing to this day and whose goals are nothing less than domination of human society by blackmail and corruption. Tonight, we're going to document for you that individuals that work directly with Epstein are still carrying out operations very similar to the operation that he was running. And we're also going to show you, hiding in plain view, examples of Senate reports, UN reports, and other institutional reports admitting that millions of women and children are being sexually trafficked every year, and that it's one of the biggest currencies on the planet. This is nothing less than modern slavery. And the corruption that comes out of it isn't like alcohol prohibition, where people fell under the control of the mafia. It's far worse because they're falling under the control of organizations and groups who even engage in the murder, snuff films of children. There is no bottom to this pit. Just like elites thousands of years ago began to degenerate and do things that are unspeakably evil, it's happening again today. And if we don't face the facts and move against these criminals, they're going to be able to take over the whole civilization like they've done the Vatican, Penn State, the Boy Scouts. There's nothing that's safe because this is a formula of evil and corruption. Now, we're going to go to an investigator that I've known for 2 years who was ready to go public. He's got recordings. He's got people admitting that they like to have sex with children. He's got it all. And I said, in this first rollout, let's just look what's hiding in plain view. And you're going to get a look at some of that right now. Then I'm going to come back in here later and go over the Clinton body count and how it ties in to these charts on the deep state that were developed by the Epic Times and that are very, very accurate. So whatever you do, please research this information for yourself and then share this report. We had to build our own network, our own satellites, our own TV systems, and band.video to even be able to get this out to you. So here is the report.
Welcome to Aviloop, your collective buying website for anything aviation. We offer deals on flight lessons, pilot accessories, fuel, FBO services, charter flights, and even small aircraft. Our deals are usually 50 to 90% off. That means whether you want to learn to fly, charter an airplane, or to see more girls like me, Aviloop can help. You can even vote for your favorite deal attendant and win special prizes. Our membership is completely free. Our deals are unbeatable. And there's no catch. So what are you waiting for, Captain? Subscribe to our newsletter and get in the loop.
You know, it's been years since I've been researching the Jeffrey Epstein case. And as the deeper I've got into my research, there's been bombshell after bombshell, exposing new facts and bringing more revelations to light. But recently, the facts that I've come across have been so especially jarring that I come to you here today, albeit in a veiled identity, to bring those facts to light so that I can expose what the Epstein case has become. It has now transcended well beyond the facts behind the purported human trafficker into something much greater, into something that's a propaganda tactic that is meant to dissuade popular opinion from uncovering the very truth itself. Now, one important component of the Epstein network, which is limited by that mimetic strategy, is the inner machinations of his network and the associates who facilitated his operation. One important figure in that scope is one of Epstein's victims, his former pilot, Nadia Marchenko. Though media has performed cursory examinations of Marchenko, a full-fledged examination of businesses which she created during and after her association with Jeffrey Epstein has been entirely neglected. The construct of those organizations within the context of Epstein's network of associates brings about more concerning questions than answers. Now, by limiting public perception of the Epstein case, an inspection of Marchenko's businesses and their potential role in the underlying human trafficking operation operated by Epstein and others has yet to unfold. And some background on Nadia Marchenko. So Nadia Marchenko was born in what was then Czechoslovakia in circa 1986 before coming to the United States in 2000 under the name Nadia Marchenko. While Marchenko and others contend that she came to the United States to pursue a modeling career, which she did eventually establish, officials in law enforcement offer a different origin of her ingratiation into Epstein's network of associates. Detective Joseph Ricari investigated the underlying case, which led to Epstein's arrest and consequent plea deal in Florida back in 2008. According to Ricari's notes following an interview with another of Epstein's victims, Epstein had purchased Marchenkova from her family in Yugoslavia, and she was purchased for the purpose of being a sex slave. Now, Detective Ricari's investigation also concluded that Epstein subjected Marchenko to sexual abuse as he began to rape her when she was only 15 years old. On one occasion, Epstein forced Marchenko into having sex with other victims, at least 2 of whom were underage. Now, despite the horrific abuse that Marchenko was certainly subjected to, she became deeply ingratiated into Epstein's life, living with him in Palm Beach, as well as being provided other residences in New York City, as well as apparent financial support. Victims who were interviewed also described Marchenko as an actual enabler of Epstein's. Ultimately, Epstein's apparent favoritism of Marchenko was behind her becoming an FAA licensed pilot who would ultimately go on to fly Epstein's private Gulfstream, now infamously known as the Lolita Express. Marchenko's role as the pilot of that aircraft conveys how deeply she was immersed into Epstein's network. In 2008, when Epstein was offered a non-prosecution agreement, Marchenko was granted immunity from criminal charges as a component of Epstein's plea. Now, despite the outcome of that case in 2008, Marchenko would continue to associate herself with Jeffrey Epstein as well as his brother Mark. Evidence of that association exists in the establishment of several businesses owned by Marchenko from 2005 to 2011.
Welcome to Aviloop, your collective buying website for anything aviation. We offer deals on flight lessons, pilot accessories, fuel, FBO services, charter flights, and even small aircraft. Our deals are usually 50 to 90% off. That means whether you want to learn to fly, charter an airplane, or just see more girls like me, Aviloop can help.
Now, in 2005, the first of those businesses, Global Girl Limited Liability Corporation, was incorporated with the New York Department of State's Division of Corporations. This is the first business which Marchenko seems to have established. According to Detective Ricari's deposition, as part of a case between Ghislaine Maxwell and Virginia Giuffre, a cross-reference of surveillance on Jeffrey Epstein's Florida residence revealed that the presence of Jeffrey's brother Mark Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Nadia Marchenkova was present. Now, Detective Ricari's finding is particularly relevant considering it reveals that Mark Epstein was present during his brother's relationship with Marchenkova. Following Jeffrey Epstein's arrest, plea, and subsequent release from prison, Marchenko would go on to found the company known as Aviloop. The company's certificate of incorporation lists the delivery of service address as 301 East 66th Street in New York City, New York. The property of that address is notable because it's managed by OSA Properties, and OSA Properties, in turn, is owned by Jeffrey's brother, Mark Epstein. Now, this address was also featured on the Aviloop website until recently, when it was removed following a request that I had made to Mark Epstein concerning whether or not Aviloop currently held a commercial lease in that building. According to the Aviloop website, it also has a sister company named Aviatri. However, there's no formal business registration with the name Aviatri filed with the same office that had incorporated Aviloop. So now we need to examine the relationship between Aviloop and Aviatri. So it's a murky relationship, to say the least. According to Marchenko, Aviloop is a consulting firm that works with AV.
I can't believe I keep muting myself and I'm talking and I don't realise that I'm still on mute. I've stopped that documentary or that report of Epstein. If you guys want to finish or watch it, you can go over to InfoWars and watch it. I'm going to be honest, when I'm reporting on a lot of the subjects that I report on or share on, I start feeling a bit sick. Like at the moment, from the start of the live stream an hour and a half ago to now, I started off happy, bouncy, energetic. Right now I feel sick because a lot of the time I've only watched a few seconds of something or a couple of minutes, or I've skipped it, or I've read something quickly and I thought, oh, I'll watch it in real time. That's why sometimes I go back on what I say, because I'm learning and watching it at the same time. It's like a live, super live reporting. I'm not reporting as per se, but otherwise, sometimes watching and reading the same thing, it can get boring anyway. So, but I'm feeling sick, so I can't carry on watching that Epstein because it's very heavy. This type of information is very heavy, and when I used to do the live streams years ago, I used to prepare the live streams, used to prepare the information, and as time went on, as much as the shows got better, and they were good, I must say, I did. It's why I ended them, because I used to end up feeling a bit depressed by the end of it. You see, now I've changed my strategy. I thought, let me start doing shows where I'm just, learning at the same time as sharing. And the result is the same. It's very heavy for me anyway. Anyway, Dr. Fauci. So that's an interesting title. It says Dr. Fauci claims normalization of untruths and conspiracy theories and threatening democracy. Well, I mean, isn't the term conspiracy theory basically something that's going to become a fact in about 6 months' time? This is why when people throw around conspiracy theory, I just get very, very bored of them, because it shows that they're still very much indoctrinated. And even though some people do say that they're researchers and they look into things and blah blah blah, they don't really. Okay, let's just see what this article says. Dr. Anthony Fauci claimed that the proliferation of conspiracy theories on social media could precipitate the collapse of democracy. Well, if the current democratic system is what we're supposed to be defending, then I'm not defending it, because I'm not defending the loss of Christianity. I'm not defending rape of children. I'm not defending war and violence and corruption and everything evil. That is not what I think democracy should be. If we are going to put the teachings of God first and be nice to one another and follow the laws, then yeah, I shall protect democracy. But it's a takeover happening at the moment, and not a very nice one. I'm digressing again, I'm sorry. The former COVID advisor gave his warning during a talk at Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health in October, saying he was concerned by the normalization of untruths. So deciphered, that basically means he's been caught out so many times for talking untruths that he now has to call the truths untruth. He said that is different than the normalization of untruths and conspiracy theories and crazy things that are going on now that I don't need to explain to you. Turn your television on going social media and you'll see it. Well, I'm going to play this video, but before I do so, I'm going to say this. If Trump was out and out the person that everybody had hoped he was going to be, then Fauci would have been arrested, Bill Gates would have been arrested, and even the Clintons would have been arrested, and all the interviews would have been released. None of that has happened. Don't get duped. Do not get duped, people. And to my British brothers and sisters, please don't get duped by the likes of Nigel Farage and Ben Habib, and definitely don't make the same mistake as voting for two Keir Starmer and the other idiots. But we're going to get to that. We'll just finish off this video and then we'll move forward.
They were completely right in their demonstration. That is different than the normalization of untruths and conspiracy theories and crazy things that are going on now. That I don't need to explain to you. Turn your television on or go into social media and you'll see it. We're dealing in very, very difficult times. What one can do about it is, to the extent possible, push back on the misinformation and disinformation. Do not accept the normalization of untruths as something that's normal. Because when people get discouraged and throw up their hands and say, well, what are you going to do? You know, social media, they just spout out these things that are absolutely untrue, from things as ridiculous that COVID vaccines have killed more people than COVID. I mean, the data doesn't mean anything. And when people say that and it gets amplified on social media, the people who are not like us, who do it for a living, they see that. And when you normalize untruths, then no one knows what true is really true. And guess what? When you look at history, when that happens, that's when democracies fall apart.
What a load of baloney. The man who said more untruths than anybody else in the medical field, telling the rest of the world to beware of his very crimes. I don't remember anybody saying that COVID vaccines killed more people than COVID itself. I am aware that the elderly in Britain alone were injected with remdesivir, which is a toxic element used as the first injection on death row when inmates are put to sleep. That is the first injection because it paralyzes the body, and excess of that then can be terminal. So I am aware of that, and everybody knows this man should be in prison. The only person protecting him is Donald Trump, as far as I'm concerned. But that's just my opinion. All right, we are leaving him and we're going. Everybody's been waiting for. We've got. Let me tell you what's to come. We've got Erika Kirk to come. We've got Ben Habib. We've got Nigel Farage, and we've got something about the UK, which I'm going to leave right at the last bit. And we've got Danny Unfiltered. He did a brilliant video the other day, so we're going to get to that. But first, let's get over to Erika Kirk.
I never dated here because I saw vicariously through my roommate how terrible it was.
So it says Erika Kirk was dating Cabot Phillips. And if you haven't heard the story, basically
They were dating. They have all kinds of Instagram stuff together, you know, saying we're lovebirds. People are like, oh, you guys are the greatest couple. And they painted together, all this stuff, right? And the same dude was hanging out with Charlie.
I used to go to every single, Charlie and I were on the road probably 320 some days out of the year. All of a sudden, when I found out I was pregnant, I just stopped. I stayed home because I knew that once my little one was here, my focus was going to shift.
Another day, another Erika Kirk lie exposed. A bunch of receipts just leaked showing that Erika's ex-fiancé, Cabot Phillips, might have been involved in the plot against Charlie, and that Erika was allegedly paid to be Charlie's handler until the mission was complete. But the rabbit hole goes even deeper. People online have discovered a lot of shady stuff about Cabot, from the weird pizza tattoo on his inner lip to his shady background and his family's alleged involvement in a cult. And then there's also the fact that Cabot claimed he welcomed a son in March 2024. Interestingly, just months later, Erika allegedly had a son with Charlie, although there's not a single photo out there of her pregnant. So if Erika lied about her dating life before Charlie, what else did she lie about? Well, let's pull out the receipts, because the deeper you go, the wilder it gets.
He was not messaging people the day before saying, I'm going to be murdered.
Andrew Colbert is the person who received a text message from Charlie Kirk saying they're going to kill me.
He wrote me this: please pray for me. Quote, I know they want me dead.
All right, let's first talk about Erika's past dating life, because so much new information just leaked, and it contradicts everything Erika told us about her life before Charlie. So here's Erika in her CBS News town hall on December 14th, claiming she didn't date anyone for 5 years before meeting Charlie.
When I lived out here, I was here for 5 years. I never dated here because I saw vicariously through my roommate how terrible it was. Somehow getting drinks was the replacement of having coffee and breakfast. I personally would rather have coffee or brunch with someone than going. I don't drink. I find it unproductive, not because I'm holier than whatever. I just don't operate that way. But I always thought it was very strange how she would go to drinks with one guy and then go to dinner with another. So it goes twofold here. So if you're expecting to marry someone that I was blessed with, like a Charlie, you have to be the type of woman that will attract a Charlie.
So that was Erika's version of events. But now let's look at the facts and what really happened during those 5 years when Erika was living her best single life in NYC. During her time in New York, Erika appeared on season 3 of the Bravo reality show Summer House, and her segments were filmed in August 2018 at a New York City bar and in the Hamptons. And yes, she was very much drinking alcohol, so that's another thing she lied about.
Get you guys a drink or food, maybe? I'll have a glass of your Chardonnay.
I'm gonna do the Mama's Martini. I don't know, I just wanted to get to know you a little bit more, and I don't even know how long you've been in New York.
Gosh, New York. I moved here 4 years ago.
How old are you? Can I ask you?
But Erika wasn't just going on dates for TV. She publicly dated at least 2 men that we know of during those 5 years in New York. First, there was Tyler JT Massey, a pro baseball player that Erika referred to as her incredible boyfriend in this interview for Arizona Foothills magazine. Some sources even claimed they were engaged at one point because engagement-style photos and shoots circulated online. However, no marriage records have been publicly confirmed, but the real bombshell is this viral footage from one of Trump's first major rallies in 2015 that shows Erika standing next to a man and a young girl between them, and this man looks a whole lot like JT Massey. So now people are speculating that the little girl could be their daughter.
And one of the calls I got was from Erika. She's like, hey, I was Miss Arizona. I love Donald Trump. Can I be involved? I'm like, absolutely. So I met her, and I was like, we've got to put her behind the president. So I had my family behind the president. My grandpa, who just passed away just a few months ago, who loved Charlie, loved the show, everything, listened daily. It was my grandpa, my dad-in-law, Lauren, my wife, and Erika is up there. Yeah.
And then in the same frame, you can see Tyler Bowyer down in the bleachers, the same Tyler Bowyer who introduced Erika to Charlie. So this raises massive questions. Why was this history scrubbed? Why the public narrative of no dating before Charlie when photos and sources tell a different story? Tyler became TPUSA's chief operating officer in 2017, and just months later, he conveniently set up what was supposedly a job interview that somehow doubled as a date between Charlie and Erika.
Banned from a European country for taking children? Well, so some people are saying on social media. You can see a couple of the posts here.
are here today, and we are speaking, and we are not going to stop speaking.
Y'all, the new Romanian investigation is literally dragging Erika Kirk's early career into the daylight, and now people are saying her alleged work around Trump's world and the modeling industry might connect her to Epstein's circle in ways nobody wanted to talk about before. And I'm
Okay, so if you're confused, yes, people are tying Epstein, Trump, Erika Kirk into one case.
sorry. At this point, it's starting to feel like way too many things lining up at once. Because this didn't blow up out of nowhere. This blew up because Romania stepped in and reportedly started looking at Erika's past involvement with an evangelical group that was accused of moving people out of Romanian villages years ago. And honestly, I don't even need to spell out why Epstein's name keeps getting dragged into this conversation. Because everyone already remembers how his world operated and who he surrounded himself with. So when modeling, Trump's circles, and Romania all start overlapping around the same name, people aren't reaching anymore. They're just asking why this was ignored for so long. Now this is where the timeline really starts to matter, because all of this goes back to before Erika ever met Charlie Kirk. Like way before the marriage, the politics, the rebrand, she was already in the modeling and pageant world. Back in 2012, Erika, then going by Erika Lane Francevy, represented Arizona at Miss USA. That part is locked in. That's factual. And who owned Miss USA at the time? Donald Trump. That whole pageant system ran straight through his business world.
That means your new Miss Arizona USA 2012 is Erika Francevy.
So when people try to brush it off like, oh, it's just a pageant, no. It wasn't just a pageant, it was a Trump-owned pageant staffed by Trump people, backed by Trump donors, surrounded by wealthy sponsors and industry gatekeepers. And yes, people online keep bringing up Epstein here too, especially given Trump's repeated denials of having ties to him, because his name has long floated around those same elite donor circles. Then after the pageant days, Erika reportedly moves into modeling and casting work in New York City. That's straight from her own background info in case you want to look her up. What's missing, and what people are stuck on, is the details on who she actually worked for in that agency. And when you put all of that next to what we already know about Epstein and the way he moved, yeah, things start getting real uncomfortable real fast. Because Epstein didn't just wake up and magically meet women on the street. That's not how his world worked. It's been reported over and over that modeling agencies and opportunity setups were one of the ways adult women ended up inside his circle in the first place.
Jeffrey Epstein started his targeted grooming and manipulation of me as a child when I was in New York City for a school trip. I first came into contact with an assistant of Epstein's while on a high school drama club field trip to New York City. I was invited to his home. There, his assistant took a photo of me and then later reached out to me inviting me to Epstein's ranch.
Reuters straight up covered the Jean-Luc Brunel situation, a modeling agent. Longtime Epstein ties and years of overlap. So when people hear modeling, casting, Trump-owned pageants, and New York all getting mentioned together, of course people start pausing and asking questions. And then you add Romania to that mix. Because like I mentioned earlier, the alleged Romanian investigation wasn't random either. It was reportedly looking into children being moved through sketchy adoption channels. And by now, most of you have probably seen those older photos of Erika promoting that foundation tied to the region. I mean, that's why people started asking questions in the first place. And honestly, it gets even uglier once you really look at the Epstein connection. Because modeling wasn't the only door into his world, not even close. Another thing that keeps popping up in lawsuits and reporting is the whole massage job situation. Women being offered what sounded like normal paid work, only for it to turn into something completely different later. Reuters has reported on multiple adult women who said that's exactly how they were pulled in. Then there's the referral thing. Court filings talk about this setup where someone already inside the circle brings in someone new, who then brings in someone else, and it just keeps going. Same playbook over and over again. And a lot of these women weren't rolling in money. They needed help. So money, housing, travel, gifts, and vague opportunities became the hook. On the surface, some of it didn't look illegal, but when you zoom out, the pattern is hard to ignore. So when people see Erika's name anywhere near modeling, casting, international foundations, Trump Trump's world and now Romania, they're not saying she did something. What they're saying is if even part of this ever gets proven, it would completely wreck her reputation. And then we have to talk about that hug Erika shared with Trump at the memorial. Because I'm sorry, that moment alone had people raising eyebrows. It didn't look like two strangers crossing paths for the first time. It felt familiar. And a lot of people even compared it to that hug she gave J.D. Vance earlier on, only this time, she was the one being pulled in. And that's when people started asking the uncomfortable question, what if they already knew each other? Because here's the part nobody really wants to say out loud. Charlie Kirk's dad reportedly worked on construction projects tied to Trump years ago. That connection existed before Erika ever entered the picture publicly. So now people are wondering if Charlie's family already had Trump ties long before the marriage, long before the politics, long before everything became so public. Now, you know, once such an idea is out there, the speculation snowballs. Some people online are straight up asking whether Trump could have been the one who introduced Charlie to Erika in the first place. Not proven yet, of course, just one of those theories that won't go away once people start lining up timelines in social circles. And then, this is where it goes fully conspiracy coded. There are corners of the internet claiming Erika wasn't just Charlie's partner, but his handler, allegedly.
Some people say you were actually a Mossad agent sitting in front of me, and you were Charlie's handler, and Israel killed Charlie.
Some even go as far as throwing around intelligence agency claims, which honestly don't even fully line up with the whole MAGA branding. But people argue that if anything like that were real, it would have started way before now, not after Charlie became a public figure. Again, none of this is proven. This is all speculation. But what people keep saying is the timing is wild, because right as all of this resurfaces, there's suddenly talk of victims preparing a class action lawsuit tied to trafficking-related claims. And it doesn't stop there. There are reports that some adults who were children at the time are now having their Romanian adoptions looked into again. Old cases, old paperwork, things that were waved through years ago suddenly being reopened. Which is why some people believe that alleged Epstein victims may now be looking at Erika Kirk as part of a larger civil case. Not criminal accusations, civil. Accountability focused. Reputation destroying if it gains traction.
We were groomed, we were manipulated, and we were taken advantage of. We will not stop or give up. And we will be on the front lines of this battle.
And if you're wondering why they'd even consider that, people point to a few things: proximity, access, influence. Who was in which rooms, who opened which doors, and who benefited from being connected to powerful networks at the right time. Because in cases like this, lawsuits aren't always about who did what. They're about who enabled it, and who allegedly helped keep everything in motion. If even part of that holds up, this stops being online chatter and turns into something much bigger. Because now it comes down to what this new Romanian investigation actually uncovers, and whether alleged victims really move forward with a class action lawsuit that puts names and timelines on paper. At that point, this won't be decided by TikTok or PR statements. It gets decided in court. Until Romania finishes digging, and until those filings either drop or don't, this story is still wide open.
Okay, so one last thing on this Charlie Kirk, Erika Kirk situation. One last video. I'm going to play a few minutes. I believe the background to this is Delta Force confirms Alex Jones' report from September that Kash Patel is running defense for Charlie Kirk's real killers. Okay, so we're going to watch this. It was clear to a lot of people that was something with the official story was amiss, but anyway, let's watch this and make our minds up.
I don't even know if I should say this.
I think you should absolutely say it.
I think the entire thing stinks, and I could say this. The day after, I talked to a high-level CIA official, very high. And he told me, I don't even know if I should say this.
I think you should absolutely say it.
He told me that the FBI is not cooperating with him. And he is trying to corroborate potential foreign influence and was getting blocked out of every opportunity to confirm or deny that. And it was written off as no foreign influence less than 48 hours in. And this guy has access to the President of the United States. And so for that to be said from the guy and asking me if I had anybody that I knew on the inside to be able to get information because he wasn't allowed to access it, I'm like, why are you calling me? Tells me everything that I need to know.
There you go, folks. And we were the ones that first broke that, all confirmed. We know there's a cover-up. We want to know. Why are innocent congressmen being implicated?
Okay, so you guys can go watch that full report. Yes, Merry Christmas to Miss Piggy. Hello. So now we're going to switch it to a new subject. We're going to go to the cult of Ben Habib Advance UK, which was preceded by the cult of Nigel Farage. They're both cults. But I was watching this video by Donny Roscoe, aka Danny Unfiltered, and he said some very interesting stuff. Let's just watch it. Let him do the talking.
Now, before we get into this, someone sent me a clip yesterday. Richard Inman saying something about me, nothing extreme, just one of those comments people say before they realise they shouldn't have actually said it. And it actually sets the perfect stage for what I'm about to talk about today. Let's roll the tape. Now, let me tell you something. I woke up in 2020. I saw the narratives that were given about the people, the government against the people, the fines, the lies, the lockdowns, the forced medicine. All of this I saw, and I realised that for 40 years, I'd been living a lie. And that's when I fully woke up. Now, since then, I've been blessed to be around a lot of good people, been part of great documentaries, been able to push the correct narrative so we can get where we are today. But being a truther and understanding the truth doesn't just stop in one direction. Everything I see, I look at the lie. That's it. I can watch a video, I look for the lie. I go to the movies on a child's program, I see what they're trying to indoctrinate my child with. I go to a restaurant and I look straight away to see how much of this food is actually food and how much of it could be lab grown, genetically modified, all of the things that are against us. And that's not a good place to be. But here I am. I'm here and I carry on speaking because it's the truth and it needs to be said. And there's not a single subject that I will not speak about. And I don't care how it hurts people's feelings. And I don't care about how people will say, oh, you know what, Danny's dividing again, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. 2026, we're moving into new dimensions. As I said, new team, new outlook, new things we are going to be doing. And it's going to be a lot locally. So a lot of the people who only want the clicks and the adulation from the many, I probably won't even see your videos. But yesterday, somebody sent me a video, and I don't normally reply to these in a public way. As you know, I'm not very fond of victimhood. I'm not very fond of pitting one side against another side for no actual reason. And that's what a lot of them do. I get these videos all the time. But yesterday, Richard Inman, he said something about me, and it wasn't hateful. It wasn't some type of meltdown. It was just one of those little comments that people make. And then he immediately went, I shouldn't have said that. Let's see what he actually said.
I haven't seen you for a while. Hope you're well, Yam. Good to see you. Finished eating, watching Andrew Ebron's brand new interview with our future Prime Minister Ben Habib. But I'm very annoyed with Dan Roscoe on the show. He accused Ben and Advance of being grifters. Yeah, just let Danny do what he does. I mean, you know, he's not the sharpest tool in the box, put it that way. Okay, that's going to cause problems, isn't it? You see, that's what I'm saying. There's me saying something that I shouldn't have said. But
now, to me, if you say something and instantly you realise that you shouldn't have said it, that only means one thing to me, that you wanted to say it anyway. And as I said, he's not the only one, you know. It's ever since, really, I've been making certain videos about a certain person living in self-imposed exile in Spain. But if you've got the influence and, you certainly got a lot of money stacked behind you, then obviously you can make these types of inroads against people who have been doing it for many, many years. Again, I said I don't want to be bathing in victimhood, but it's important because here's the funny thing, right? It's not about drama. I'm not upset by it, but it ties perfectly into what I wanted to talk about today. And I wasn't going to do it. And then I was. And then I think, do you know what? It's the truth from my position. Now, I want to thank Andrew Eborn for actually asking the question to Ben Habib, because he hasn't been answering it when I've been asking on any type of social media accounts. And again, I do think it's actually important, and you'll be surprised by the reaction that it got.
When I launched Advance UK, I wasn't certain it would get traction. That's why I set that 30,000 hurdle of members before we applied to the Electoral Commission. I'm telling you now that from what I'm smelling and the anecdotal evidence I've got, we are on the march, and we are not going anywhere other than straight into mainframe politics. And people like Farage and Kemi Badenoch, Keir Starmer, Ed Davey, whether they recognize it now or not, they were going to have to contend with us. I feel it. I feel it the same way I knew we were going to get seats before 2024. I feel it now.
Yeah. I always give you the opportunity of responding to the various questions that people pose. We had Danny Roscoe. I don't know if you know Danny. He posted out on social media. Remember, Ben Habib will never answer the difficult questions. I'm going to let you respond. Why did you say that 1 million Advance UK members would give you a landslide win in the general election? This is a big political grift. They don't have to win or just to say they are trying. They only in their circles, knowing it's an echo chamber. Also, under 50,000 members 3 months after the first 3 months means it's not the fastest growing. It means Tommy was the surge. Don't let these people gaslight you.
Well, he's talking, bollocks, isn't he? We've gone from nothing to the 7th largest political party registered. We are now getting councillors. The reason I said 1 million members is it got nothing to do with grifting or gaslighting, is when you've got the establishment against you, and your only route to the people is through the people, then you must have people in your army, in your proverbial army. And if we have 1 million members, we will take the country by storm. That's 4 times as many members as Reform claim to have. Reform don't have the number of members they claim to have, by the way. It's an over-egged figure. I challenge Farage.
Because they keep putting up, then there's all these lies, damn lies and statistics. People.
So you've heard it there, that Ben Habib says that my question was bollocks. All right, cool. So there's Ben Habib saying that I talk bollocks. So we've got Richard Inman saying that I'm not the sharpest tool in the box, and Ben Habib saying my question is total bollocks. All right, let's deal with this properly. Because what I'm doing is I'm actually telling the people how UK elections actually work. And what he is doing is selling people a fantasy for £20 or £30 a head. But I'm going to break this down without the theatrics.
Yeah, so the membership is still growing. It's actually picked up a bit recently. It slowed down quite a lot after the growth in our membership slowed down quite a lot after we hit 30,000. I think there was a real collective effort to make sure we got to 30, and people have relaxed since then. Yeah. And we really need members, by the way. So anyone listening to this show who hasn't joined and likes what I'm saying, please join up, because unless we have members, we won't be able to win the next general election. In my mind, given the establishment is completely against us, we've got to get to 1 million members by next general election. If we get to 1 million members, there is nothing stopping us from winning that election. We will win it. We will win it outright. So if you're minded, if you are as concerned about the UK as I am, and you think Advance UK has the answers, please join. Sitting on your hands is not going to help, and get other people to join. Critical, absolutely vital. That's the first thing.
So he does keep saying that if we get this 1 million member marks, we will win the election outright. That statement is statistically false, strategically false, and politically impossible under first past the post. End of discussion. Right? No, let me show how unsharp I am. Because winning the UK election has nothing to do with membership numbers. You need 326 seats. You need to win them one at a time with local votes, not paid memberships. People are not concentrated in areas where you need the votes. That's not my opinion. That is literally how the system works. So why do they sell this membership equals power fantasy? Because it is easy money. 500,000 members at £25 each, right? That's 12.5 million straight into the party machine. There's no seats required, no councillors, no groundwork, just hype, memberships and cash. It's a subscription model dressed up as politics. Real political movements though, you know, the ones who ain't marketing projects, they do the boring things like canvas, like have local branches, community ties, candidates who actually live there in the area and, you know, years of groundwork experience. That's just like UKIP, you know, despite the media blackout, and they still have real local roots. It's not sexy politics, it's not viral, it's not sensationalism, but it's real politics. So if Ben thinks saying this is just bullshit, then that tells you everything. I'm not attacking voters, I'm defending them. I'm defending them from being sold a fantasy wrapped in an inevitability. And if somebody needs to lie about how elections work to sell £25 memberships, then you're not looking at a movement. You're looking at a business model. And that's it. It's as simple as that. But before I wrap this up, there's something Ben said that I didn't get a straight answer, but there was an answer if you actually listen. He said the membership is growing, it's at around 150 people a day. He also said the first 3 months brought in the 30,000 members. So let's do some simple maths. 3 months, 90 days, 150 a day, times your 90 days, you're talking about 13,500. On top of your 30,000, you're looking at between 38 to 43,000, right? Which means that the growth was front-loaded. It was spiked because of the Tommy effect. And that's not negative, that's just the truth. But it actually shows where the support comes from and how it grows. And, you know, you should take that on board and push it further, because obviously that's a model that works. But don't gaslight people. Don't pretend that this is the fastest growing political force in history, because your own maths don't support that. Listen.
Imperative for GB News, which is they want to be able to say that they created the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. You know, so there's a conflict of interest there, which I think they're exercising in their own favor, not in the favor of the country. That's the biggest challenge, getting known, getting our message across. But we are doing it. The 38,000 members we've got, that is big.
So there we go, the 38,000 members that we've got. This was only yesterday. See, I'm only doing what I'm doing to protect the public from being strung along, from being listened to the lies that people say. And if that offends political entrepreneurs, then good. Maybe they should try politics instead of these sales pitches. Anyway, if you got it this far, like always.
Yeah. I like Danny. I think he's a good lad. He's an intelligent chap. I like the upgrade to the studio. In fact, I should interview him again. I agree with his outlook on Ben Habib. But to be honest, my issue with Ben Habib is the same issue that I have with Nigel Farage, Keir Starmer, and every politician in the world, because I am no longer looking for what anybody is saying. I am looking for what they are guaranteeing, and unfortunately no politician is giving the guarantees, or coming even close to giving the guarantees that voters should want. And as we can see, even Iron Rock politicians like Donald Trump can go back and do U-turn. So we need the right guarantees, and that guarantees needs to be a declaration that unless they deliver on their pre-election promises, and then they will be open to prosecution. It's as simple as that. And if by now you don't realize that, or you don't agree with that, then you are part of the problem. All right, so talking of Nigel Farage, let's watch this bumbling idiot do 6-7 to school children, which is copying Keir Starmer. And mind you, he did copy Tommy Robinson and have milkshake thrown on him, so we shouldn't be surprised. Let's watch this.
Here in the Clacton constituency, delivering gifts to kids in the homes, and oh boy, you know, if you've got problems in your life, think about some of these youngsters and what they've gone through. Then, of course, we've been out and collecting gifts from the butcher so the ambulance crews can have a really good meal on Christmas Day, and just going out around the community and feeling very much they've actually.
Yeah, that's all very fine and dandy, but what he's really doing it is using it as publicity, right? Cameras following him, taking photographs and all the rest of it. So it just feels a bit fake, but at least he's doing something. If it is fake, at least he's giving to the community. But that's not my issue with this video.
Actually pleased for the local MP to make the effort to come to see them. And to FC Clacton, where lots and lots of screaming kids were looking forward to a really big sit-down meal. A lot of those kids, foster kids.
Look, he starts doing 6-7, exactly what the bumbling idiot Starmer did, and got ridiculed. Let me play it.
Foster kids,
That's what he's doing
foster
there, look.
kids, foster kids, etc. Foster kids, etc. And for them to all be together, and wasn't it joyous? And that's what Christmas really, I think for many of us, is about. Well, we've now retired as the daylight begins to fade to the 3J's pub in Jaywick, and it's a happy Christmas.
Yeah, Nigel. Whatever. All right, so the last report for today is Trump admin condemns UK prosecution of pro-lifer for silent prayer, says it's monitoring the case. The article reads as follows. UK is prosecuting of British pro-life activist for standing silently within an abortion centre's buffer zone is not only concerning as it violates common sense, but is an unwelcome departure from shared transatlantic values, said a Trump administration official. According to a Saturday report in The Telegraph, the spokesman for the US State Department was addressing the case of Isabel Vaughan Spruce, a Catholic pro-life activist who was charged last Wednesday for standing and silently praying on the street outside an abortion facility in Birmingham. Her case marks the first time a person has been accused of violating the country's abortion buffer zone law, and we know the rest of it. Let me tell you something about abortion, a few realities. Yes, he is. I'll explain that in a minute. Okay, let me tell you a few unfortunate facts about abortion. Women that abort the child, the baby, are actually end up going through severe depression and other mental health stuff for weeks or months afterwards. So if they think by going in and having the child, the baby terminated is the end of it, they unfortunately are misinformed. On top of that, what is very, very surprising is how even very educated people are completely unaware of what the process of an abortion is. I'm sorry to tell you, the process of an abortion is basically a doctor putting in tweezers and ripping out the child's arms, legs, and other body parts. But nobody seems to know that. In fact, it is quite often that the mother aborting the child doesn't even get to see those parts of the unborn child. And Yeah, that's a very, very sad situation. Horrific. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's actually, maybe I'll show you one more thing before I go. Something fitting to the title of today's live stream. So I'm going to show you what's going on in the streets of London. Let me share my screen. Here we go.
Tax? Whoa, leave him alone! Leave him alone! Oi, don't come! Leave him alone! Leave him alone! Leave him alone! Go! Call the police! Fuck off! Fuck off! Leave him alone! Leave him alone! Leave him alone! Police! Call the police! Call the police! Call the police! Whoa. Get out of the road now. Call the police! Call the police! Okay. Attempted. It's attempted. Don't worry, man. Police, please come. I'll tell you later, man. I'll tell you later. The male, Somalian, black Somalian, skinny, 1.73 meters tall. Blue jacket, dark blue jacket. Somebody find my glasses, please. He's armed and dangerous. Yes. He was taking a knife. Yeah, he tried to rob me. Thank you for the truth with me. This is him. Okay. Would you like to live? Oh, is he getting attacked? Whoa, leave him alone!
Yeah, so that's the pleasant streets of London. And Miss Piggy saying in regards to the abortion, that is why God says you have to choose between him and Mammon. Oh no, I think she's responding to Shivites, not the situation with the killing of unborn. Yeah, people don't know a lot of facts about that. All right, so unless, all right, I said I was gonna mention Raj. Yes, Raj is still on a red card. Unless Raj can come on, well, before he comes on, he needs to say what good is he going to do for my listeners. You see, for me, for Christmas, I have offered to each one of you a free website, essentially a setting up of a business free of charge. That's my gift to you for even bothering to tuning in. So if you or anybody you know want a website or a revamp of an existing website or an idea for a business, whatever, then you can send them to my Discord channel and I shall honor what I am saying to you. No ifs, no buts. I'm not even data collecting. Because when you do something for somebody without any return, God helps you grow. So I suppose in that respect, I am helping myself. But to be honest, I enjoy helping people. I enjoy doing things for other people. There's a great amount of magnificent happiness that comes from it. But Raj, unfortunately, as great as a spokesman he is, as great as a personality is, he's not helping. And when he teams up with people like Banksy, I'm afraid it becomes a bit degenerate. And I've just had too many of those concentrated conversations, and I'm trying to share news and information to help people to bring them up to awareness, and the conversations I have with some people are just not productive. But on a financial investment level, I think it's prudent to share that Japan has started, possibly, or certainly have raised interest rates recently. And as a consequence, a lot of corporations who borrow loans in Japanese yen at very low interest rates will now possibly try and look for loans and large amounts of credit from other jurisdictions. And if the likes of BlackRock do truly control governments such as the UK government, then we are likely going to see a lowering of interest rates, because One of the easiest currency investment schemes you can possibly do is to borrow at a lower interest rate and reinvest it in a higher interest rate. For example, you are able to borrow £20,000 from the likes of Barclays for 4.5%. I think the current rate is 4.3. Don't quote me on that. And you can take that 20 grand and you can invest it in a foreign currency account in India and get something like 7.5%. It's as simple as that. And you use the same money to pay the APR, and by the time you've paid it back, you've got more money left over. In fact, I knew people at university who would take out student loans and put it in a high interest account and make money that way. You need to get your figures right to do it. It's not something that I am saying is financial advice. I'm just saying corporations borrow money from the likes of Japanese banks at a very, very low interest rate with a holiday period sometimes, put it into a economy or a bank somewhere else at a higher interest rate and make money from it. And with a advanced economy such as Japan, you can borrow, agree the terms and have the money out of that economy within hours. May not be possible in some countries, but it is in Japan, especially if you are a multinational corporation. So if you are a saver, if you are somebody who likes to earn interest, and even Shawbrook Bank here in the UK, who just a year ago was paying around 5% interest to UK residents, has now dropped it down to 3%. So if you feel that you're not getting value for your savings, I would suggest look at countries and economies that pay much further, and you are able to open and operate a foreign currency account, because your currency will be a foreign currency in that account remotely. That's what you want to do. People of Indian origin can easily do that with various banks in India, and India is one of the countries that pay a high amount, like I was saying, anywhere between 6 and 8% sometimes. All right, people, but like I said, that's not financial advice. It's just general discussion points. It's general in nature, not personal to you. If you need investment or personal advice or in financial advice, then you should go get a qualified professional to make a judgment on your finances. All right, that is me done. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the news, though you can't really enjoy depressing stuff like that. Excuse me. Merry Christmas to everybody. Remember, Christmas is not about how much money you spend, how much alcohol you drink, or how big your Christmas tree is. It's actually a celebration of the birth of God, who came and showed everybody how to live your life. Have a good Christmas.